What's going on, YouTubers? Welcome to another video. I'm in the midst of playing Banishers Ghost of New Eden, but I have an idea, and I wanted to run it by you guys. And it's a way to improve my overall home theater display to flow better, get some pieces top shelf that I think deserve it. And it's, of course, regarding this particular wall and this wall. Now, I've thought over the years of doing some changes, but some things didn't work good, and I think I may have figured it out, and I wanted to run it by you guys. So basically, the idea is we're going to move Alita down there, and then all my 1/4 creatures will go here. So I can have basically everything 1/4 down low, and up top would be 1/3 and bust. You'd have the Marcus and Lycan display, and then just Reaper and Reaper bust. You don't necessarily need to do Blade with the Reaper, considering that's not a movie blade, and, you know, drastically different bases, different vampires. I think Blade can just be a standalone piece. You know, he doesn't need to go in that Blade setup. And then, so, as you know, I've always had the idea of my ultimate Terminator wall, which I've really wanted to do. The idea is to do it basically right here. You know, there's kind of a few different iterations. So here is like a simplistic one of basically doing the Prime one and Darkseid 1/3 line. The problem with this is it is a little repetitive. You have basically two T1000 1/3s. Granted, you know, they're technically kind of the same pose, different base. This would be a liquid chrome version. You'd get Clean Arnold, battle damaged, which I don't mind that. In a 1 Sarah, 1 Endo 1/3, Endo life size, you'd get the 2 Pure Arts. You know, and this looks overall good. Then, of course, there's this idea, which is kind of like probably the best, but also, you know, probably the most expensive. You know, we get the Sarah bust and the Endo bust. Now, I don't know if I do Sideshow. I'd probably do the, was it OGRM, Orgrim, or whatever the frick it is. And I'd have to buy back, like, the HCG arm. No, not have, like, an all-Endo display here. You know, this is slightly repetitive with bust and life size, but whatever. And then also getting the new Queen Arnold. This would, you know, the Endo life size is about 2 inches or 1 inch more than this shelf. So it just expands slightly past where it is now to do this. You know, and then this doesn't leave room for Clean Arnold, but you'd get the Clean Arnold bust, not the Clean Arnold 1/3. We do get the Sarah Connor bust, which, of course, is, you know, outdated. Like, it's not, I mean, granted, it's sunglasses, but she doesn't have, like, real hair, for example. You know, and I feel like with a bust, you pretty much got to have, like, real hair, you know, for something like that. But it is cheaper. It overall, I think, would look good in the display. This is probably the overall best-looking one. Then we also have this. Now, this is how I would do this wall. So, like I said, this setup here. Now, currently, this is on a 48 and a 36. That is a 36, and that's about 42 inches wide because I'm using the outer thing. If I did a 48 there, it'd be a little too wide, and it'd make it difficult. You know, I feel like I could only do a 36. 36 would be very comfortable, you know, but it would, underneath it wouldn't limit anything. Above, it would make this tighter. So I think I'd probably move the TV over like 3 or 4 inches just to make it fit a little bit better, you know, because the blade setup, which would go where Alita's at, doesn't need as much space. Now, I'd actually be doing the bust right here, not the Reaper 1/3. It was just easier for Photoshop purposes. But this is all 1/4 with bust underneath. You know, you got 4 bust down low, 3 up top. You know, and all these have, like, these aren't like silicones, but they do have, like, glass eyes outside of this one and that one. But the eyes are painted so good. But I think this works pretty good. You know, everything's 1/4. It's, you know, overall, you got lots of different creatures. I mean, he's really like a zombie night walker, whatever. You know, and of course, you got dragons. Alita's a robot girl. You know, and Mummy, Medusa, and Creature. So I think overall it flows pretty good. The one thing that is out of place, of course, is that T-Rex. But that is what it is. You know, if that T-Rex wasn't there, then of course I could just throw the blade up there. This also doesn't leave space for Celine 1/3. You know, but there is the, you know, another potential idea. And let me just check and make sure. Okay. Yeah, there's also the idea of instead of doing these two, you just do the two busts. You know, basically this, but minus that. You know, like making it a little bit more simple, keeping it a 36-inch shelf and just doing that. You know, you could do that. You could also get rid of this and just do this with that. But, you know, to make everything look even, I feel like you got to do the bust. So it's definitely something to consider. I mean, ultimately, you know, I do want to get that Queen Arnold, but... So here's the thing. Of course, that, you know, leaves this not in any of those displays. We do have one free spot here. Now, I could just throw Blade right here. That's what I was kind of thinking. Like, all right, Blade could go there. You know, he still fits the overall horror theme. He's fine as a standalone. I just throw that Blade prop right above him. Now, I do those two things right there. Probably move the Jurassic over here. Do the Underworld poster and prop. Poster and prop. Put it all right here. Scoot the TV over just, you know, like maybe to about right here. You know, get in that extra space would just give, you know, this display a little bit, you know, more. Of course, you know, this could go completely to the edge and have this stick out. I can scoot it over, basically having it almost all touch. Scoot this over, as you can see, there's still quite a bit of space. And then, you know, have the TV just right next to his shoulder. You know, so that would work. That would work underneath. I was actually thinking of throwing this right here. You know, because like these pieces do work pretty good mid-room because they are kind of, you know, different, you know, in the sense where they don't really fit anywhere. In the middle room, they would fit. It'd get them taller, which would be fantastic. You know, getting them both right here would be great. I know I'm trying to avoid overall mid-room shelf statues, but I have always thought of doing those two mid-room, thinking it would be fantastic. You know, I could put Vampirella right here, Red Sonja there. You know, and eventually when Celine comes, you know, which I definitely will get Celine, it is a matter of where to put her. I mean, ideally you would want to put her in the Underworld setup, but of course, if we're shrinking the Underworld even further, like from a 48 to a 36, it would make putting her here nearly impossible. The only place, I mean, goodness, you know, I mean, unless you just want to throw her here mid-room, you know, like with these two girls and throw Celine there, you know. I do like the idea of making this the Terminator wall. Now, the endo, but life size would have to go basically right here. So it'd be very close to me. And its base would stick out to about right here, you know, because it's 38 inches deep. You know, so the base would stick out, but as you can see, you know, it's mostly the base. The actual endo himself is in line with the things. The guns would block, you know, I'm trying to think, the gun would block a tiny bit of her, not really. The other gun would be top, like up high. So it really wouldn't block anything. You know, so you got to imagine the life-size endo right there. You know, technically I could also do the life-size endo there, but that kind of defeats the purpose of me wanting to do, you know, the bust on each side, which I just think overall looks better. You know, you put the life-size endo here, and then you do all the busts, you know, whether I get Sarah bust and another endo bust again, or I just keep it these two busts and do 1/3. Although I think a bust idea is better than a bunch of duplicate 1/3s. Like I said, the one photo where we actually keep that 48-inch shelf and do the endo bust 1/3 and arm, Arnold bust with the 1/3 and either other bust, or you could do a clean Arnold 1/3, you know, like by Dark Side. Although in that case, you'd want to have the bust between the two to make that work. You know, you kind of want to do 1/3 right next to life size and then bust in the middle. So you'd have to do T1000 bust 1/3 life size, Arnold 1/3 bust 1/3. That'd have to be Endo 1/3 bust arm, and then Sarah Connor 1/3 bust. Like that would work good, I think. You basically have two Arnolds, one to get a clean version, one to have the battle damage, because they are pretty, quite drastically different. And the Dark Side Arnold's also, much cheaper than the life size. Of course, the life size is going to be substantially better. But I have been thinking of this because I really hate how my life size Endo has both arms down, though. I hate that. But if I do one arm forward, it freaking blocks like this entire shelf. And it's a walking hazard. It's definitely not going to be a walking hazard over there. I probably would never do the arm forward. It'd be up, just one up, one down. I really like that look. I think that's the best look actually of the Endo versus double arm forward or one forward, one up, one down, one up high is the best look. And I wouldn't be using this. No need. I mean, I could probably do just the front one actually. Just the front one, but definitely not the side one. No need for that. But I'd probably just keep that front one. But I did want to get your guys's, intake on this. I do like a lot of things about it. As is, the kind of plan is just to throw the 4, 1/3 right there and then call it a day for Terminator. And the Endo, unfortunately, can never have the arm up due to that. And then this setup is pretty much complete. Now, granted, we still have Celine 1/3 eventually, which I even wonder. I mean, we can always just figure out that's like future Flankster's problem. We don't have to worry about it right now. But if we think about right now, if we throw the life-size Endo, this isn't that hard of a move. I literally just have to remove one shelf, throw the life size over here. I just slide it. I just remove both gun arms and slide it over. And then remove all these statues and put everything over here. I just have to lower Alita, move these two out because they're, sold. I should just box them up, actually. And then do the Reaper here and move the TV a little bit over. I think it could work good. I have really been itching to get that Terminator wall for the longest of times. Because you got like my horror wall, you got the AVP wall, and then this would be like the creature TV wall, more or less. But this would consolidate all 1/4 right here. I guess the only other technical 1/4 is this guy. Now I could upgrade to the 1/3. The problem is that arm is so freaking deep. It would literally stick out the shelf to like right here, which isn't necessarily a walking hazard per se. But I feel like that piece needs to be top shelf because you wouldn't be able to see like the chest detail, where right now I can see the chest detail. You know what I mean? So I feel like I don't need the 1/3. I actually prefer the pose on this. But yeah, everything else is, I mean, technically that's 1/4, non-scaled. But yeah, technically that is 1/4. But it scales good, so it works. Anyways, folks, what do you guys think of this idea? Do you think we should move Terminator? Now, I wanted to give you like what the Endo would look like. It's basically my chair is going to be about right here. So in essence, I'm going to be sitting down, and then that would like be my angle. And then that gun arm would just be up. But I'd be like this close, which isn't bad at all. And then getting these guys up close as well. Like, I'd get closer angles of them. She looks fantastic up close. I think she's better up close than from a distance, honestly. But the Endo isn't bad at all. Like the presence feels crazy when you're like sitting down. So it'd really be like this. But yeah, what do you guys think of this? I do need to try Red Sonja Vampirella right here and, kind of test it out for a few days maybe. Just like, okay, do I really want to have these here? I could always technically sell them if I wanted to, but they are so damn good. They're so cool. Like the art, design, and the costumes, and the bases, and they're just beautiful statues, But yeah, what do you think? Should we do this move? I'm thinking yes, just because I really want to get that Terminator Wall. And like I said, I'd probably just do the HCG Endo Arm, the Orgrim bust, and then that custom Sarah bust. And then I'd probably get Darkseid Arnold first, see how I like that look, and then decide when Queen comes out based off in hands if I want to get the Queen's new bust. You know. And I could technically pass on the Sarah bust and just do Arnold 1/3 down low. And if I don't do the Endo, you know, bust, I could just do Endo Arm. If I did just Endo Arm and the 1/3 in a 36, it'd look good. But on a 48, you got to do the bust as well. Otherwise, it'd look too empty. Or you got to do the Darkseid 1/3. Or you got to do Cinemaquette's TX, like the Terminator 3 statue. But I am trying to limit to T1, T2. You know, that is like what I'm limiting to. T1, T2. In reality, T2. But, you know, T1 is fine. Anyways, what do you guys think? Should we do this? Like, comment, subscribe. Have a great day.